Talk about one of the problems I found before I forget about it. Season 1 is when we first meet Bear. Superboy is getting used to his new human name that Mr. Martian Manhunter gave him. So, when talking to Bear, he almost calls himself Superboy, but instead, he introduces himself as Connor. In this season, Bear actually comes back for one episode, though he's mentioned a few times, but he actually comes back for one episode. We see him, and when he greets Superboy, he calls him Superboy and not Connor, which I thought was weird. I think they should have gave a little bit of an explanation, but maybe they forgot. The whole thing with Black Lightning and Static Shock felt lazy. Like, they tried to set up Black Lightning and Static Shock's friendship, and then as soon as Season 3 starts, they get rid of it. Though later, we have like one moment with them where they're friends again, and they're just sitting with each other after Black Lightning basically lost everything. And another thing we lost is in Season 1, Aqualad confronts Red Arrow after he betrayed them and found out he was the mole. And Aqualad goes to confront Red Arrow, and Red Arrow's like, "Are you real, or are you mind controlled, or all this?" And he was like, "Yes, I'm real." And he's like, "Tell me something only I would know." And then he talks to him about how brokenhearted he was when his girlfriend broke up with him. And Red Arrow and Aqualad's friendship seemed promising, but we never see Red Arrow that much in Season 2. Now Season 3, he's retired and changed his name to Will. And another problem with that is Cheshire Cat was really pissed at Red Arrow because he, wasn't helping take care of his kid, though he didn't even know he had a kid. Cheshire Cat decides to just drop off her kid to her sister and Will and just never see him again. Her again, I mean. So I don't really get why she would criticize Red Arrow and then do the same thing, except she knew and he didn't. And we never really see Red Arrow and Aqualad interact again, and I really liked their friendship. Now he's Aquaman and never talks to Will. And I really hated that they brought back Miss Martian and Superboy's relationship. I don't give a fuck. What she did was absolutely awful and cannot be forgiven. So I do not understand why not only did they get back together, she married him, well, he married her. It makes zero sense to me. And another thing, Jace, the female doctor's betrayal was absolutely obvious. Before they even showed us, it was obvious. So was Brian's betrayal, Geoforce's betrayal. Tara's betrayal was the most obvious one ever. Because almost every time we see Tara in media that's not comics, she's working with Deathstroke, and she's gonna betray the team she's on. It was just so predictable. Another thing I didn't like is how the season was almost over and they finally mentioned that Superboy's one mission wasn't one mission anymore. Like, we're 16 episodes in and now you're just gonna talk about it? Okay. Ra's al Ghul was cool, but they haven't really done anything with Ra's al Ghul ever in the Young Justice series. He just talks for a few seconds and just scurries away. Oh, one thing I want to talk about. Icicle Jr. came back in season 2, and he never interacted with Superboy, right? Well, in this season, he's grown, has a mustache for some reason in his ice form. Anyway, him and Superboy actually have a bit of a heart-to-heart conversation, and he's happy for him when he finds out that he is, married. Though, even though Icicle Jr. was a bit of a perv and a weirdo, I think even he would realize that Miss Martian wasn't right for Superboy if he knew half the stuff that Miss Martian did. Well, what else? There's not really much to talk about for this season. Season 3 is probably my least favorite season. They set up all that dark side stuff and nothing really happens. They beat up Granny Goodness and we see Calabac for like one scene, which Calabac's one of my favorite characters, but they did nothing with him. And then, season just kind of ends. I really wasn't a fan of this season. And I honestly think if it was like one of the millions of shows that got canceled after season 1, it would have been fine. Season 2 was fine. Season 3 was kind of boring. Though I did like some of the stuff that happened in it. Well, honestly, this could have been one of those shows that got one season, that was it. Show turned out fine. Spectacular Spider-Man had 2 seasons, and it was pretty good. Beware the Batman I just started only had 1 season, and it's pretty good. I think if these kind of shows would just stay at 1 season, that they would just be fine. I just couldn't really get into this season. And they added even more characters. So Tim Drake got even less screen time. And so many of the other characters. Metamorpho was actually in 1 episode, and that was it. Katana was in 1 episode, and that was it. Though she's mentioned and we see her a few times. The only action fighting scene and her having a bit of voice acting was 1 episode. Just they had all these new characters and do nothing with them. But keep the old characters. And then we still see them quite a bit. We probably saw Superman more than we saw Blue Beetle. Which is ridiculous. This show is supposed to be about teenagers and younger heroes, and Superman and the Green Lanterns probably got more screen time than Blue Beetle. Because I hardly remember anything Jaime did during this season. And instead of a 5-year jump, it's only a 2-year jump in this season. So Wonder Girl is still underage. That leads to a grounding in 1 episode. I just really couldn't get into this season. Season 2 was pretty good. Had its good episodes here and there. There wasn't too many characters, but there were still way too many for a 20-minute show. We can't have like 20 episodes and the show's length be 20 minutes and then be able to use all of these different characters. So it made no sense when they added even more next season. So yeah, wasn't really a fan of season 3. So if they do a season 4, I might not watch it, but I probably will, just to see if it's any good or not. But yeah, I just wasn't a really fan of this season.